Hi, everyone. My name is Daniel Rivers, and I am the Partnerships Director for AM Opportunities. We are an organization based in Chicago, in the United States, that has helped more than 3,200 medical trainees to attend clinical rotations, clinical training, clinical experiences in the United States. I'm going to ask you all to mute yourselves, and I will just mute you all right now. And just to keep your video off during the presentation. After I complete the presentation, I will stop recording, and then I'm happy to take any questions you have. If you were not able to join today, or if you are rewatching this video after, welcome to you all. Salam alaikum to you all. Hope you are safe in these times. The COVID situation obviously is really bad in many countries. I'm happy to answer your questions upon its impact on clinical experiences, the U.S. residency match, and anything else you might have questions about during your medical training, medical career. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and start the presentation. I'll be talking a lot today about online telehealth clinical rotations, which are now being accepted. The LORs, the letter of recommendations, are being accepted for the U.S. residency match. So as many of you know that want to attain residency in the U.S., you need a minimum of 3 letters of recommendation from U.S. preceptors. You can now get these online. You can also do your residency interviews online. So actually, I've been told the residency match process this year and next year may be a bit easier than in former years, just due to the lower cost of travel and kind of step 2 CS not being offered. But I'll jump into the presentation and answer any questions you have afterwards. So, as I said, AMO is based in Chicago. We partner with more than 250 clinical sites for in-person, online telehealth, clinical experiences. We have many options available, from nursing to research, dentistry, and then everything that you can imagine for medical students and graduates in more than 70 specialties. We contract directly with our clinical sites, which allow them to open their doors to the international medical students and community. And this is because we take all the administrative duties and burden off of our clinical sites. So we will help you to collect all your documents, immunizations, dean's letter, any forms you need. We're very familiar with more than 90 countries now that we have worked with, and helping you collect the right documents so that you're prepared to go into the hospital or clinical site. We make sure that all of our clinical sites are welcoming, friendly. It's an educational experience so that you will get the most out of your program, including that valuable letter of recommendation at the end from the U.S. preceptor. Again, we do have programs online and in the UK, and later this year we will be opening up even more both online programs, UK programs, and we're always opening new sites in the United States. So what is a clinical experience? Well, this is either hands-on, which means you are interacting with the patients. If it's through online telehealth, these programs can still be essentially hands-on in the sense that you are interacting with the patients on the online telehealth. And the other form is observerships. So who can take which one and what are the differences exactly? Hands-on rotations are often also called clerkships. In the UK, they are called clinical attachments. In the UK, our programs right now are only taking observerships and only for graduates. In the United States and through our online telehealth programs, we have more than 250 programs that are available to any year of medical students, graduates, doctors, nurses, and dentists. Observerships are for students in their pre-clinical years, generally years 1, 2, and 3. Students in their clinical years, so generally years 4, 5, and 6, would be completing hands-on rotations. In the United States, you do not need to take USMLE exam to take a hands-on rotation. You just simply need to show that you're a current medical student in your clinical years. If you are a graduate, then we offer observerships. We have observerships that are only for doctors or graduates, very high-end observerships at top hospitals. If you want to take a hands-on rotation as a graduate, you must have taken and passed the USMLE Step 1. There are very minor differences in the two. Essentially, they're the same, but with the hands-on, you're getting that patient interaction. You might be taking vital signs, filling out forms, interacting with the patient, but in both cases, you're practicing differential diagnoses, doing active case presentations, participating on grand rounds. So there's a lot of similarities in both hands-on and observerships. Now, whether you're doing a hands-on observership or our online telehealth clinical experiences, the letter of recommendation that you received, the LOR, is exactly the same. It talks about who you are as a person, your dedication to your medical career, your knowledge, do you show up on time? It kind of speaks to who you are as a person. So you want those really personalized letters of recommendation that can help you either to apply for the US residency match or for a residency match in your home country or another country. Those letters of recommendation also help if you're already a doctor, just adding to your curriculum and your skills and experience. Now, our online telehealth programs are actually exactly the same as our in-person programs. They're generally 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday for 4 weeks. All of our programs are for 4 weeks. And the reason that they're 4 weeks long is simply to allow time for you to learn the US or UK medical system, to really develop that relationship with other rotating medical trainees and develop that deep relationship with the preceptor so that they can write you a good letter of recommendation. The online telehealth programs are available in short term, so you could even apply now for an August program. Whereas, as you know, our in-person experiences in the US, many of them might not be open until September, October, or later. These programs will save you on costs. There's no travel. We do not need your immunizations or malpractice insurance. So there's a lot of the barriers getting into the in-person programs that are removed for the online programs. Please keep in mind that most of these programs are offered during the day in the United States. That would be 9 a.m. to about 4 p.m. So that means Monday through Friday, you would be on your computer at nighttime in your home region, depending on where you're located. So you always need to check the schedule and make sure it will work with your schedule. But we have a team of advisors that can work with you and make sure that your technology is compatible. Some of these programs are using Zoom, some of them are Microsoft Teams or other applications, and they will check that your schedule is compatible. Remember, it's free to create an account and free to create applications, and then you can ask lots of questions. And I will show you how to kind of get in contact with us if you do have lots of questions. And at the end of the presentation, I will post a link where you can schedule one-to-one meetings kind of to ask specific questions about your medical career and your pathway, depending on the country you're from. I just want to show a bit from one of our doctors about the online telehealth clinical rotations. And I have a quote here from the Harvard residency director, who has become a good friend of mine, and we've worked together a lot recently on these programs. And he kind of states that telehealth and virtual rotations are established now. They are here to stay. As a residency director, he's told me that he will be accepting online telehealth letters of recommendation, not only from international medical students and graduates, but also from US medical students and graduates. And this is simply because most medical students and graduates are not able to kind of get the clinical rotations in person nowadays. Not to mention that online telehealth is kind of here to stay. It will go on even after COVID cases go down and the pandemic is over. Many students, many doctors are getting used to conducting that first patient evaluation through online telehealth. Taking these programs will allow you to see how that process is being used in the United States.
So do I feel that telehealth rotation provides enough engagement and interaction between the preceptor and the student enough to provide a LOR? I 100% agree. Because as you may have witnessed or as you may know, when you do telehealth, I really get to look at you in the eye and say, hey, look at this patient. What do you think? What are next steps? And I really get to see what your level of knowledge is, how much engagement you have. And most of all, when you're asking for an LOR or giving an LOR, I look for enthusiasm and manner and engagement. And we at telehealth, I have all that. I have you in my face in front of me. So it is the best rotation. And in fact, if you said, what is better in person or telehealth to get a really good LOR, I would really say telehealth, because I one-on-one get to assess your skills. I know your skills. I know your lecture set. So yeah, 100% you can get a really good LOR doing a telehealth consult because you're really involved, right? You can't hide as you do in person. I remember somebody asking me a question and then I would see them getting distracted via nurse.
So how are we addressing COVID-19? Obviously, many of you probably have questions about this. We are now offering more than 21 programs in online telehealth, which I'll show you in just a moment. These experiences allow you to get the training that you want and need, whether you're a medical student, graduate, doctor, nurse, dentist, but also increasing your clinical knowledge from the comfort of your own home and not really getting any exposure, obviously. We're updating our sites regularly. So we have more than 250 clinical sites in the US, UK, and online telehealth. We are calling our sites regularly to check that they have proper protective equipment for our visitors that are planning to come to our sites in the future. We do have many medical students and graduates reserving in-person rotations in the future. So we want to make sure that you're protected. If our programs tend to be not in COVID hotspot zones, so if you book a program and then it becomes a COVID hotspot zone, we will work with you to maybe adjust the location of your rotation. So we're calling and emailing and talking to our clinical sites on a weekly basis. We are also providing constant communication to the world through our blog. So I will post some blogs for you at the end of the presentation that you can check out, but keeping that information up to date and regular. We are also waiving all of our switch fees. So if you do book a program and then you cannot come due to travel or COVID or any other reason, we can save that deposit and move the program to a later month or a later year and not charging you any fees to switch your program. Obviously, the benefits of away experiences. Well, in the United States, we really suggest that all US medical students take at least one online telehealth clinical experience as well as one clinical experience in another country. And we have the same advice to all medical students and doctors around the world. It's really important to get exposed to another healthcare system. So whether or not you are planning to apply for a residency match in the US or the UK, we do have many, many top programs available where you can just simply learn from them. For online telehealth, we have programs with Stanford and Harvard and many other kind of top programs. And in person, we have, of course, many, many more. So these programs are a way for you to learn, expand your clinical knowledge, expand your network of clinical professionals that you can reach out to later in life. If you are currently a medical student, I do work with medical schools around the world to ensure that you get elective credit for these rotations. So if you do want to replace some of your rotations at your medical school with either our online telehealth programs or in-person rotation programs, just let us know that when you're reserving the rotation, and we will either contact your school or work with you on the curriculum requirements so that we can make sure that if you need any sign-off forms, that we get the preceptor to complete those forms for you. AMO is the largest clinical marketplace in the world. Again, more than 200 locations. We're always expanding our offerings in more than 70 specialties. Our process is simple and transparent. So as many of you already know, you created an account that was free. You can search through our programs, see the prices, read the descriptions, ask us questions. We have many free resources for you. So really want to make sure you're ready before you make that reservation. And then once you do reserve a program, we offer kind of world-class support. We will assign you a one-to-one success coach that will make sure you're ready for your program and that the clinical site is ready for you. So I'll just briefly pause a second and kind of just take a look at any questions that have come into the chat. Okay, so I'll just say for right now, if anyone needs to leave the presentation or if you have joined late, I will be addressing kind of all these questions in the chat at the end. I will continue recording the presentation even while I'm answering your questions. So that way, if any of you do need to leave, I will address your questions. So get your questions into the chat now, and I'll kind of come back to them at the end of the presentation. So on our platform, once you create an account, the first thing you want to do is kind of go to the documents section. Make sure that you have uploaded a CV. So go into personal documents and upload your CV or your resume, just kind of 1 or 2 pages. What medical school did you attend or are you currently attending? Maybe a statement of purpose. Why do you want to participate in either an online telehealth clinical rotation or an in-person in the US or the UK, and any research or clinicals that you've done so far. So once you have your CV uploaded, then you can start creating free applications. So you have your documents uploaded, then you go to the search and kind of search on what you're looking for. So if I clear all filters, we have 266 programs currently available. But right now, as it's very difficult to travel, you might think, okay, maybe I just want to do one online telehealth program. That would be in rotation type. So that filters to the 21 programs currently available. Some of these are clinics, private practices, or ACGME sites. Let's say you want plastic surgery. This is with Dr. Lin at Harvard. Please click on the program and read the full description before you apply. It is free to create an application once you've uploaded your resume, your CV, but please read through the program description to make sure it's right for you. It will go over academic affiliations, hospital affiliations, expectations, exposure type, who it's best suited for, how you're evaluated, and any additional requirements, as well as the schedule. As you can see, you do participate in virtual grand rounds. You attend conferences. So it's really like you're coming to the United States, to Harvard, but it's all done online. This doctor actually is really great and works great with our international medical students. And then if you have questions, you can reach out directly to any of our advisors. So that's their WhatsApp number. You can text them or call them, or you can email advisors. To create an application, you simply select the type, you pick the start date, and then click apply. Now, once you click apply, within 48 hours, we generally will approve your application or get back to you if we need additional information from you. Once you're approved, then you would pay a deposit to reserve your spot at the rotation. If many of our programs only have one spot available per month. So until you pay that deposit, it's not reserved for you. So just keep that in mind. So it's simple to kind of create an account. You can search for more than 200 clinical sites, upload your CV, create that application. And then once we've answered all your questions, you would pay the deposit, reserve, and complete enrollment. Some of the documents we need after you apply and are working on completing enrollment are listed here. We will help you with all these documents. Again, we've worked with medical students and graduates from more than 92 countries, and we're very familiar with how these documents look in different countries. We will also enroll you into pre-enrollment orientation and a pre-departure orientation. So we'll kind of answer all the questions that you may have. Now, if you're wondering, when can I come to the United States? When will the US be open for travel? I do suggest you kind of go to this website. You can always check, maybe once a week or once a month, and just kind of search the city. Cairo is taking emergency appointments, so that's a good sign. Many locations are completely closed. Other cities around the world actually do have appointments available. So just check your visa appointment wait time, and I will kind of post this link into the chat. I know there are many questions coming in, so just give me a second here, and I will get to all your questions. So there's the link for that. I'm going to complete the presentation, and then I will go through and answer all your questions one by one. So our advisors are there to help you. As you saw in our programs, their information is listed on the left of every program. You can have their WhatsApp number, and they can kind of be there to help you pick the right program. Again, with more than 250 programs, if you want, say, a program in cardiology, there might be 30 programs available. So be sure to tell us if maybe you've been a cardiac surgeon for 20 years and you just want to see how certain procedures are done in the United States at a top hospital. Or you're a current medical student in your 3rd year and you want to become a physician in the US. Whatever your particular situation is, the more information you can tell our advisors, the more they can kind of help you choose the right program for you. Our visitor experience team are the coaches. So again, once you pay that deposit, you will be assigned a one-to-one success coach who will then work with you on collecting the remainder of your documents and getting you enrolled, getting your badge to go into the hospital if you're going in person, and things like that. As I said, we've helped more than 3,200 trainees to our clinical sites with more than 140,000 user accounts now searching our platform and applying. Currently in the US, there are about 27% of US physicians that are internationally trained, so IMGs. This is a high percentage, and it keeps going up. So there's a good chance if you do want to become a US physician, there is a clear pathway for that. And I will give you some data on that in a moment. In the UK, it's about 24%, equally high around the world. So if you want to work in another country, coming through a clinical experience in the US or through AMO can provide you those letters of recommendation and experience that will really help your applications, whether you want to become a doctor in the US, the UK, or another country. After you complete your rotation, we always ask that you leave a review. We do generally get 4- and 5-star reviews of all of our programs, and this is kind of due to you attending presentations like this to learn about what we do to help you. Our visitor experience coaches that are assigned to you one-to-one to kind of help you, and if there's any issues, kind of switch or change your programs. And then our advisors that are there to help you pick the right program for you. Now, as I said, we have visitors from more than 92 countries. So we have blogs on our past visitors that you can read and learn about their stories. I'll just click one here and I'll post this into the chat log. But you can go to our blog and read about stories of lots of different past visitors who have kind of come through AML. And then I will also post a link to just our general blog site where you can search by COVID-19, or you can search by residency match, or really any topics that are of interest to you. We have a team of writers that stays well updated on everything happening in medicine around the world, and kind of writing specifically usually about the US residency match, but also lots of information in there that you can use. So I'll give you a little bit of information on the residency matching program, and then I'll kind of stop the presentation and go ahead and start in on your questions. So about 10 years ago, only around 30% of IMGs matched into residency for each residency match cycle. I'm happy to say that the last residency match cycle at the beginning of this year, before the COVID pandemic, we had about 61% of applicants that matched on their first try. So this is quite high. The number was actually higher than US medical students. So US citizens that went to study medicine in another country matched at actually a lower rate than IMGs. So the residency match has been going up steadily for IMGs every year for the past 10 years. So this is really great news for those of you that want to gain residency and work at a US hospital later. Medical specialties that generally have the highest match rates are kind of the family medicine, internal medicine, pediatrics, the frontline medicine. Medical education in the US is very expensive, between $350,000 and $450,000 to complete. So US medical students generally go into highly specialized fields, such as plastic surgery, radiology. You can match in those fields, there are just less spots available. Registration this year opens on September 15th, and online telehealth clinical experience LORs will be accepted. To apply, you need a minimum of 3 LORs, and the ERAS system allows you to upload a maximum of 4. So you can take up to 4 months of clinical experiences to get those 4 LORs. So with that said, I've kind of seen lots of questions come in. Bear with me. I'm going to continue to record because I've seen a few people message me that they would like to see the answers to these questions, but they cannot stay on the presentation. So I will continue recording and kind of go to the questions now. So I'm kind of going way up to the top here. Give me a second. Are there surgical rotations for online telehealth? That's a great question. Let me just kind of share my screen with you again. So when you go to online telehealth, let me go back to the search. For surgery, sometimes our online telehealth programs, the physician, when he's doing the surgery, he might have a GoPro camera on his head. You would feel like you're in there with the surgeon. So there are some surgery. I think we just launched one. We have the plastic surgery. We also have the general surgery with assistant professor at Mount Sinai. So a really top spot there in New York. We are adding more and more online telehealth programs every week. So here's another general surgery. So there looks like there's 3 programs that are available through online telehealth in surgery. There is no special criteria to be eligible for online telehealth. So If you are either a current medical student, a graduate, a doctor, or a nurse, you should be able to take our programs. For nursing and dentistry, we don't really have many options for online telehealth, but for doctors and medical students, all 21 programs should be open to you. Again, read the program description. So in any online telehealth program, let's just look at this general surgery again. I'm going to share my screen one more time. If you go into who it is best suited for, that will answer if it's suited for you. So this one is for earlier medical students as well as graduates and doctors. But some programs are reserved only for graduates and some programs are only for students. So kind of check in the program description. And it'll also show you about the patient load in most programs. So for telehealth, there are both observerships and hands-on. That is all in the program description. So search for telehealth, read the description of the programs. Many programs are just observerships. Others do have patient interaction. That will be listed in the program description. Yes, you can get a rotation in a specialty that you have not studied yet. As long as you're a medical student or graduate, you can take those rotations. And many people do. We get first and second year medical students who take, rotations with us. They don't even have the clinical knowledge yet. So you just need to check if that program is open for you. Just check the description. But if you are a current medical student or graduate, you can really apply for any of our programs. Again, it's free to create an application. So you can always apply and we will look at your resume, your CV, to make sure you're kind of qualified and able to take that rotation before we approve you. Once we approve you, then that means obviously you were qualified and you can reserve that rotation. As far as how long does it take to receive the LOR after a rotation? That's a great question because the September 15th opens the residency match. Remember, you can apply for it opens September 15th this year, but it goes until January. So there's still time to get those LORs in. It really depends on the preceptor. You do have an individual success coach that will help you. They will tell you when to ask for that letter, how to ask for that letter. Do you want that letter uploaded to the ERAS system or you wanted a copy of that letter emailed to you or mailed to you? Generally, the letters come within 1 or 2 weeks after the clinical rotation. But again, it depends how busy that preceptor is. So sometimes it can take longer. Oh, great question. Right now, we only have online telehealth programs in the US, but we are working really hard with all of our clinical sites in the UK. Currently, we only have one program available in the UK, and that's for observerships for graduates, and those are in-person programs, and they are taking applications from October this year. But we are planning on opening more in-person UK programs as well as online telehealth. So once you create an account with AMO, you will receive about 1 email each day, kind of giving you information on new programs, discounts, offerings. So continue to check those emails quickly each day, and we will announce when we have those online telehealth programs in the UK as well as more in-person programs. Yes, telehealth programs do have a limited number of seats. So let me just share my screen again. When you go to apply for a program and you go start date, you will see how many seats are available. This particular program I just clicked on has no spots available in August and September. So that means they're already full. People have already reserved those spots. So as the seats get filled, they will remove. So let me just show you another example program. So this is that program with the Harvard residency director. There are no seats available for August. Both of our seats were filled for August. For September, there's 2 seats available. October, there's 3 seats available. So this program has 3 seats available every month, but if you pay the deposit, that seat's taken and it's removed from our system and no one else can apply for it. Great question. So are UK rotations helpful if you want to match into US residency? And I'm sorry to say that they are not. So for the US, the rotations must be in the US. Now, anything you do can be added. There's a lot of sections in the residency match process that you can fill out. So of course, if you've done rotations in the UK, there are places in the residency match application that you can kind of add that's part of your experience. Anything you do helps, whether you volunteer with the Red Cross, you are part of AMSA or IFMSA or other student organizations, if you volunteer at your local hospital. So really any experience helps to show how dedicated you are to the medical profession and your medical career. But specifically for clinical experience, you need those LORs from US preceptors. Someone just asked the question, which I already answered. Yes, you can take a specialty that you have not studied. We really started our organization about a decade ago to make these experiences available. Again, we get many early year medical students that don't know what specialty they want to go in. So they take an online telehealth program or they come to the US and take an experience that kind of opens their eyes and opens doors to the possibilities of what specialty they'll go into later on. So definitely, whether you're an early year medical student, a late year medical student in your clinical years, you just graduated, or you're a doctor and you've been working for 10, 20 years. All of our programs are open to you. Just read the program description or contact one of our advisors to learn more about that. So I told you all that I would post a link to our advisors. So many of you have a lot of questions that are kind of specific to you and really you need to be answered for your particular case, depending on if you're a nurse, if you're a medical student, if you're a doctor, what country are you from, what are your goals. So I'm just going to post to everyone. Here is a link to, Here's a link to one of our advisors, our top advisor, Ryan, and you can schedule one-to-one individual meetings with him. And he can go over your resume or kind of answer your specific questions. So, feel free to schedule a one-to-one meeting with him. No, so your university does not have to already be accepted for the 2022 USA accreditation to be able to apply for telehealth. You simply need to be a medical student or graduate. So from any school, you can apply. And if there's any issues, of course, we will let you know. It's free to create that application. So once you create that application, we tend to try to approve you within 48 hours. If we can't approve you, probably it's because we need more information from you and we will contact you. So I just got a question from Mohammed, which is a really good question. And I don't want to give you the wrong information. But the LCGME has said that, has given guidance on clinical rotations and their acceptance. In the beginning of the pandemic, they were kind of mentioning that they were leaving it up to the medical schools. There are many US medical students that are now doing online telehealth clinical rotations. There are many US medical schools and foreign medical schools that are now accepting our online telehealth clinical rotations for elective credit. So it really depends on the school. And all I'm saying here is that the LORs are being accepted towards the US residency match. Again, those LORs do not state that you took an online telehealth clinical experience, a hands-on, or an observership. It simply talks about who you are, your knowledge, your practices. And as you saw in the video, that doctor really states, you know, that this is a way for you to develop a deep relationship with the preceptor. In the hospital setting, the doctors are busy, you're running around. On the online telehealth, it's a closed caption environment like this one. So you really get to develop that personal relationship. Hello, I'm a physical therapist. I just finished my doctorate in physical therapy. Cairo University, great school. Congratulations. I had finished my credential evaluation, New York State. Okay, so as far as this question, I really appreciate the question, but that's really specific to your case about attending PhD programs in the US. We do have many clinical experiences in in physical therapy. So as far as a PhD program, we don't offer kind of degree programs. We offer clinical experiences. These can be research, hands-on observerships in more than 70 specialties. These are required by every medical school. Obviously, you did physical therapy, so you did clinical work either in Egypt or in Kuwait. So we offer those kind of programs. I don't want to answer your question specifically about PhD programs just because I am not a specialist in physical therapy PhD programs. Okay, so I think I've answered a lot of the questions here. With that said, I'm going to stop recording, but I will stay on the line and continue to answer questions. For all of you viewing this recording after the fact, thank you for watching. Stay safe. Please wear a mask and protect yourself from COVID. We hope that this pandemic will ease soon. Yes, stay safe, everyone, and thank you for attending. And thank you to our partners at Ta7 for kind of organizing this event.